Right, Tottenham have made their worst start to a Premier League season for 9 years after losing the North London derby. They face Coventry in the League Cup tomorrow night. Now, Ange Postecoglou has been speaking to the media in the last hour, and Rob Jones was asking the questions for us, so we can speak to him now live. So, Rob, always good to see you. Postecoglou made the comments that he always wins a trophy in his second season. Was he asked about those comments again today?
Good afternoon, Vicky. He certainly was, yeah, and I think you would describe his tone as bemused when he was asked about this fact, effectively, that he stated that he does always deliver a trophy in his second season. He did so in Brisbane, he did so in Melbourne, he did so in Japan with Yokohama as well, and success actually arrived even earlier with Celtic, delivering a double in his first season before going on to lift yet more silverware in the second season. I think it may be something quintessentially British about being maybe sometimes a little bit shy and bashful about your own achievements, whereas Ange Postecoglou prefers to be a little bit more on the front foot and says, yeah, I don't see that I'm putting extra pressure on myself because I'm talking about the fact that I have always delivered success in my second season at a club. I asked him very early on in the press conference today about that statistic. He left that one alone initially, but the second time that someone put that question to Ange Postecoglou, he couldn't quite help himself from getting involved.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, I just stated a fact, and it seems like, am I supposed to just lie or just say it never happened? But no, it's just it's confusing to me that people are making a big deal out of something. I'm not supposed to sure how I'm supposed to answer something that is true. Like, if I don't win it in the second year this year, and I come out next year and say, well, I always win it. Well, no, actually, it's not true. But I've just said something that's true, and it seems like it's upset a lot of people for some reason.
I think it's because it's unusual that we see a manager who...
Saying something true?
No. Well,
yeah, say that. Somebody said, yeah.
You can say that, I could possibly comment, no. But it's quite bashful about their team's prospects.
But it's... do you really think it's me sort of being boasting? Or, like, how am I supposed to answer something that's true? Is it to say... Well, actually, no, it wasn't that important. They were easy competitions and they don't mean anything. And I mean, if you've achieved something, aren't you supposed to say, yes, I have, and that's what I hope to do again? I'm not really sure, like, why people misconstrue it as me trying to boast about something. I've answered a question, which I think somebody else brought up here anyway, before that, which is true. And that's always happened. And my plan is for it to happen again this year, and if it doesn't happen, then I can't answer that question the same way next year. I can say mostly, not always.
Oh, I do enjoy listening to Ange Postecoglou. I do always think he talks the truth. So look, how does Postecoglou install that winning mentality then to make sure that he does actually win a trophy this season, do you feel, Rob?
I thought you were going to say you really enjoyed listening to me, Vicky, but we'll carry on instead. We do both enjoy listening to Ange as well. That's absolutely true. It's interesting, isn't it? Because even if you look at the short sample size of Tottenham's season so far, it's been a case of playing pretty well in games, but maybe not getting the results that their performances have deserved. They should have been absolutely out of sight against Leicester in their first match of the season. The Monday Night Football contrived to draw that game 1-1. They had big opportunities to get something out of the away game against Newcastle, which they went on to lose 2-1. And even if you take Sunday's North London derby, they were aggressive, they were pressing, they created plenty, but once again that old Achilles heel, particularly in North London derbies, of conceding from a set piece means that it was Arsenal who took the bragging rights in that part of London, went on to win the game, and Spurs, as you said, worst start for a long time. And if you take it even further back than that, actually, they've only won 3 of their last 11 Premier League games of Tottenham. They've beaten bottom club Everton this season. Then towards the end of the last campaign, their only wins came against Burnley and Sheffield United, who have since been relegated. So I asked Ange whether he could use his own winning mentality to get that across to what is still very much a young squad here at Tottenham, but also use some of the experienced players, the likes of Christian Romero, who's won the World Cup and the Copa America, the likes of Rodrigo Bentancur, who's won Serie A titles with Juventus as well, as Spurs look to try and create that winning mentality and end what has been a 16-year drought for a trophy.
It's a consistency and sort of belief in what we're doing, and you know, I've said before, it's not an easy process. It you know, at times can feel pretty disheartening when things don't happen smoothly, but I've always believed in certain things to be true, and one is that if you keep playing well, the results will come. But you just can't do that and expect it to happen. You know, there's still elements in our game that we need to improve on, and you know, I think when you look at the 4 games, I think that you could summarise all 4 games in a very similar way of us, you know, outperforming the opposition, but not taking the critical moments in our favour, and you pay a price for that. But that doesn't mean you need to change your approach. If anything, you just need to keep doing what you're doing and make sure that in those critical moments we take advantage of it.
And I guess the other thing for Ange Postecoglou to balance as he prepares for tomorrow's trip to place Championship side Coventry, it is the games that are coming up. You've heard Rodri already this hour speaking about player welfare. Well, this is one of 7 matches in 21 days for Tottenham, so there might be a little bit of rotation. Made 9 changes for their second round match at Fulham last season, went out on penalties, did Spurs, but he's already said that the likes of Radu Dragusin, Pap Sarr might need a game. The one player who won't be featuring tomorrow is Yves Bissouma, still out injured. There is a chance that he might be fit for Tottenham's next game in the Premier League, which comes against Brentford on Saturday. Coventry will pose a bit of a threat too. Their run in the FA Cup last season was excellent. They beat Wolves on the way to a semi-final defeat against Manchester United when they came within a toenail of knocking United out, a goal disallowed in extra time before eventually going on to lose on penalties. So they will be wary of the threat that Mark Robins' side pose. A first League Cup meeting between the two teams for 21 years. Robbie Keane, a goal scorer against his former club as Spurs, won that one 3-0 back in 2001. But perhaps the most famous domestic cup meeting between Tottenham and Coventry came in the FA Cup final of 1987. A brilliant final that Coventry went on to win by 3-2. I wasn't born, Vicky, but I'm sure you remember it well.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.